There's ample documentation on the ongoing weather warfare, even from diplomats from other countries. Here you have Iran. Vice President claims country's drought is part of the weather war on the Islamic Republic. You've had also the president of Iran on the floor of the UN twice, trying to raise the alarm that his country was a victim of weather warfare. Our media does not cover it. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, a growing but neglected global epidemic. We're all frogs in boiling water right now, period. Whether we realize it or not, whether we feel healthy or not tonight, we're all breathing this stuff in. It's clogging us up slowly but surely. It's absolutely happening. We're not speculating. We have about 6 lab tests from Shasta County alone. We know this material's in the air, and we know we're breathing it. There's no speculation on this. This is a bioaccumulative metal. It's just what we know about is lethally harmful. So this is a problem we all are experiencing to some degree. 1 in 3 older adults now dies with dementia and/or Alzheimer's. Doesn't mean they die with it or from it, but they die with it. And all of us, again, are somewhere along that path. Cognitively, we all have this stuff in us. It's affecting us all to some degree. This is an older chart. I've used this chart before, but it's important because it shows the escalation for autism. We've gone from 1 in 5,000 to 1 in 50. That's a 10,000% increase. That should alarm people. So why are people watching American Idol and football and drinking beers and having tailgate parties? We're immersed in an absolute crisis right here, right now. So my attempt is to convey that message. The global depopulation policy killing us softly. How do you cool a population without panicking them? You know, I've stayed away from this subject in very much depth because I'd hoped people would come around and just the simple notion they're being sprayed like rats day in and day out. But it seemed not enough have. As long as McDonald's is flipping burgers and Walmart's open, people seem to think everything's okay, but it's not. It's not. And this will come to a very abrupt end very soon. On the course we're on, there is really no denying at this point that Agenda 21 and eugenics appear to be a part of this equation, along with a lot of other things. Too many people want to put it in this box or that box. There's a lot of layers to this onion. This is one. U.S. admits to bioweapons tests. There's a very long list of absolutely documented U.S. biological testing on innocent populations. Many nations have done it. And this is, again, this is a hard reality that the American population will face soon, one way or the other. Heavy metals acting as endocrine disruptors. This is extremely serious. This equates to our reproductive abilities, hormonal production. It affects life and our bodily systems to the core. And this should alarm everyone. Obama, let's just cope and get along and go on, right? This is sort of like Bush said after 9/11, that let's just everybody go back and go shopping. And it's what the government wants us to do, just to do nothing. We have David Rockefeller on the record stating that 95% of the population needs to go. And a lot of people have never seen these quotes, but they exist. So it should not be hard to connect the dots here. And at this point, we are all not only expendable to them, but we are a liability to them. It's something we need to remember.
Barack Obama also was told, because when he and I were serving in the Mars Jump Room program, we were being trained under Ed Dames in the summer of 1980 at College of the Siskiyous in Weed, California. His presidency and mine were being openly discussed by who was present. His mother, Stanley Ann Dunham, who had been an intelligence operative in Kenya and Indonesia, even married into those cultures. His parents had worked for the OSS. His grandparents, rather, had worked for the OSS during World War II. And my father had ties to CIA. Brett Stilling's father was working at Lockheed Skunk Works. Ed Dames was basically a remote viewer for CIA. And at one point, Barry was in front of us and got up to talk to Major Dames. And Brett's father was sitting behind in the next row over here. Brett was here. My dad was sitting behind me. And Thomas J. Stillings of Lockheed leaned forward and said to his son Brett, who had been sitting behind Barry Soetoro, who is now using the name Barack Obama, he said, "Brett, what does it feel like being in a Mars program like this with a future president?" And before Brett could answer, my dad leaned forward from where he was sitting behind me and went,